early 2020, before COVID gripped Britain, Kusumpant Joshi is leading a group of volunteers at the British Library to explore how a late 19th century magazine, Vanity Fair, profiled celebrities from Africa and Asia. While surfing the internet, she bumps into Professor Lynn Innes, 12th in the line of descent from Mir Jafar, and the great-granddaughter of Nawab Mansoor Ali Khan. Lynn's recent book, The Last Prince of Bengal, offers fascinating insights into this period.
Well, the magazine set out to show the vanity of British society, of the elite in British society, including the politicians. And to some extent, it included the visiting celebrities from India and Africa.
Professor John Eade, who has been supervising the project, believes the magazine reflected the political and social aspirations of the British Empire during the late 19th century.
It's a very interesting mixture of the portrayal of famous people and also commentary on them. And the editor, Bowles, wanted to influence the elite, the political and social elite. And he had a very distinct idea of what they should be doing.
Kusumpant Joshi's book, Selective Inclusion, African and Asian Celebrities in London's Vanity Fair magazine, takes an in-depth look into the text and subtext of this journal as visualized and edited by Thomas Gibson Bowles.
Selecting the subjects for featuring in the Vanity Fair, I think the editor must have picked these people primarily because of their importance and the interest that they would arouse in the readers. So they were all very important personalities, whether they were from India or from other parts of Asia or from Africa. They were all highly politically important, very mostly very affluent people who had made an important contribution in the society and administration of their country, or they were emperors and rulers, statesmen. There are some sportsmen as well. There is a barrister. So they're all successful, important people.
Sold for 1 shilling a copy, the magazine hit the stands in London every week for over 46 years. Was it the period of its publication that made it the barometer of English attitudes and fashions?
I think the second half of the 19th century is fascinating from an English-British point of view, really, because the Industrial Revolution was changing society massively. And Bowles was very worried about the development of mass, of the populace, if you like.
Through our book and documentary, our project explores whether the inclusion of the profiles from Africa and Asia was based on selective inclusion, and secondly, were their caricatures and accompanying biographies not a true representation of these celebrities?
When he saw the caricature of himself in Vanity Fair, he was extremely upset and very angry because he felt that it portrayed him as a minor figure. It showed him as a small figure with his dominated by glasses. It emphasized his clothing rather than his respectability. And it contrasted very much with the very regal portraits of him that were back in the palace in Murshidabad.
SCCF's young volunteer Uttara Sukanya Joshi feels the same about the caricature of Emperor Gojong of Korea, who was featured in Vanity Fair on 19th October 1899.
Well, the caricature of Emperor Gojong, it is not a true representation of how he really looked. It clearly was drawn with the intention of ridiculing him and creating this narrative that was quite derogatory, that lacked empathy.
Vanity Fair featured 7 celebrities from Africa, 8 from China, Japan, and Southeast Asia, and 13 from India. Among Indian dignitaries were Maharaja Dilip Singh, Sir Pratap Singh, Sir Bhavnagre, the Aga Khan, Ranjit Singh Ji, and Maharaja Rajinder Singh. SSCF volunteer Seema Vedi has reservations on his portrayal too.
That caricature was a little bit not to the potential of Maharaja Rajinder Singh. He was such a grand royal, and he was a very good sportsman, and he was very intelligent person and true royal. But the caricature does not represent all that. This looks more like a cartoon, not the true representation of any of his features.
Is it far-fetched to conclude that African and Asian celebrities were deliberately misrepresented? Is there some truth that their accompanying bios were far from perfect?
I do not think that the way the caricatures were made or the portraits were made had any racist intention or inspiration. But perhaps the biographies that went with them sometimes smack of an element of racism, which was perhaps part of the mental makeup of many of the people during those times.
More than a century after Vanity Fair ceased publication in 1914, the question is, are the secrets of the rulers, statesmen and elite of the era and the machinations of the British Empire that lie hidden in its pages still relevant?
No, I think what it shows us is that late 19th century still has resonance today.
The British public needs to be much more aware of the history of British relations with Africa and India in the 19th century, not just in the present.